one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something, you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party! You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps because they know what happens next. So without further ado, free smoke. Look, scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our block, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Greatness. Greatness happened?
Greatness.
Really?
You got a chance to witness greatness at its highest order. Skip, what word do I want to use? Was this the crescendo? Was this the zenith? The apex? The denouement?
That's a good word. I like that word. That's a good Hollywood word.
Welcome to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Welcome back if you are somebody who's watched me before. Again, congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs on making it to the Super Bowl. Congratulations to the Eagles on a great season, even though they did come up a little bit short. And congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs and, of course, Patrick McGoat on another Super Bowl title, the second for most of those dudes. 2 MVPs, two Super Bowl MVPs for Pat McGoat. What a season. A lot to talk about. I want to talk. So I already released today, I released a video, a show recapping the Super Bowl. That was the immediate Super Bowl reaction. I'm going to be recapping the Super Bowl in a couple videos, but I'm glad the season is over in the sense that obviously, you know, football is already being missed worldwide. You can only talk about the Super Bowl so long, knowing that there's no other game coming behind it. I don't watch the XFL. However, a lot of things to talk about in the Super Bowl still. I didn't talk about the big run by Mahomes last night. I didn't talk about a lot of different things that happened in the game. But one of the reasons that I'm happy the season has ended, another successful season, every fan of every team is now hopeful for their team again. Hope has returned to the building. You see, once your team is knocked out of the playoffs, knocked out of contention in the playoffs, the season's over for you. Now, but the season's not over yet for the league. When the season officially ends, the NFL team has been crowned the Super Bowl champions for the year. Now the season is reset. It's a reset. Everybody got faith. Everybody got hope, optimism. Things can go like this and that. So it's a lot to talk about during this NFL season. And we're going to talk about the Super Bowl in this video, recap the Super Bowl. One of the biggest points of this video I want to talk about is what the Baltimore Ravens should have learned from the Philadelphia Eagles throughout this process. And because of their failure to do what the Eagles have done is why they will end up losing Lamar Jackson ultimately. But I want to get back into the Super Bowl because what a game. Like I said last night, I talked about the call at the end of the game. And listen, I'll reiterate my thoughts on that call. I watched Richard Sherman's podcast last night, and I watched him talk about this. And I actually agree 100% with what he said. In a game like this, see, to me, you make judgment calls in sports all the time. For me, when it come down to refs just not giving a damn about the moment, understanding that this ticky-tack, because this is not a definitive call. That ball, if it was a catchable ball, that's a definitive call you should make. It's no way that ball is getting caught. Pat Mahomes essentially threw that ball out the back of the end zone. And you still bail them out with that call. That's not a call that should have been made, especially when it's a call that so very clearly will dictate the end of this game. And to me, referees not having the wherewithal, not having the understanding of, bruh, this is a big moment in the game. If a play don't have to be called, don't call it. Don't let this game be determined by the NFL refereeing. And that's exactly what happened at the end of that game. Like I said, I'm somebody who don't like to blame one play for a game in the NFL. Because when you look at different things that happen throughout a game, the fumble by Jalen Hurts, the defense not being able to stop the Chiefs on no drive in the second half. It's so many different things that the offense not scoring as many points in the second half, even though 35 points in my opinion. It's hard for me to get mad at something like that because 35 points should be enough. And it's not like they went scoreless in the second half or just put up 3 like the Chargers did. They gave their defense enough points in the second half to lock down that game. And the defense just said, we're going to let the Chiefs score on every fucking drive in the second half. And we let them score on that, with all the scoring we let them do in the first half. So, and not only that, we're not even going to make them really go through long drives to score. So, I understand all the different things that happened in the game, the different flags that was called and all that. But in that moment, when all those other plays have become null and void, basically, and we get this stop, they have to kick the field goal, and you call a play that, and I said it last night in my video, and when I saw that call, I said to myself, that's not a call that you should make in this type of game. Situational awareness gotta be a part of being a referee, because this is not just another game on Sunday. This is the last game of the season. If you the NFL, you should never want your game, your biggest game, to be scribbled in refereeing. Just referees. Apologies for that. Right there. Referees just scribbling all over the game. That's what people remembering. If at any moment in your biggest game, it can be talked about by a call that was made and not made, that's a problem. And my problem is, it don't feel like in no sport referees get punished. We punish players all the time for ridiculous things. Players can't talk about referees, but referees can still continuously go out there and be terrible at their jobs, make atrocious decisions and calls, and nothing happened. That's insane. Like I said before, I understand not wanting players and coaches to be able to just go at referees all the time, because you don't want to set up a bullying type of system where referees scared to make calls now or scared if they don't make calls. You don't want that. But letting these motherfuckers get away scotch-free after making bad calls, this is one of the reasons I fell out of love with basketball. College basketball is a sport that is, every time I watch it, it's the referees dictating games. Unless you playing against a team that's just stacked with talent that's going to blow up, referees determine way too many games in basketball. I watched UNC Chapel Hill play in a tournament game in the tournament game against Villanova one year, I believe it was, that we lost. And all the calls in that game that continuously slowed that game down. Then you come back next year and all the calls. And then you hop to the NBA and you look at all the different calls that can make games and break games. Like, referees have just far too much power. And I said it at the beginning of the season. The NFL does not have the worst refereeing. They don't. If you really look at NBA basketball, and God bless you if you're able to sit down and watch college basketball, the refereeing in those games is far worse. However, the NFL refereeing is bad, and it can be better. But one of the things that's never going to have a refereeing team be better is if it's no consequences to actions. People keep saying, oh, it's mistakes, human error, How many times can we give them that excuse? If you want the game to have change as far as refereeing, better officiating, refereeing and officiators have to be punished. There have to be some type of checks and balances system. You can't just keep continuing to cash bad checks and nothing happen. You can't continue to get away with cashing checks for bad actions. It's got to be some type of balancing system there to balance out these bad calls and whatnot. It's like the dumbass NBA when they announce after a game, oh yeah, the referees got that call wrong. I mean, what's the purpose of that? We can't replay the game. So what is calling out the refs in that sense doing for us? So I agree with Richard Sherman 100%. In that situation, in that moment, Juju was not catching that pass. That call should not have been made. And I understand James Bradbury saying, yeah, I held him. I thought I could get away with that. Yeah, he should have been able to in that situation. That hold call, that quick little, that did not dictate anything on that drive. That ball was thrown out the back of the end zone. And not having the situational awareness to know if I throw this flag right here, that's essentially me, not essentially, that's me ending the game for the Eagles. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I understand the people who say, well, you know, if that's a call that's made in week 2 and week 4 and week 8, that's a play that's got to be called in the Super Bowl. No, it's not. Because you get on TV and you talk about how the officiating is different in the playoffs and yada, yada, yada. But then you say something like, no. And for clarification, it was Tim Hasselback who said that. Mind you, I hate listening to Tim Hasselback because I don't think he is the better of the two analysts between him and his brother. I feel like he got a very narrow-minded view of how he see things and talk about things. I don't enjoy listening to him talk about football. But one of my biggest problems is this antiquated way of thinking. That's just a problem for me, bro. And too many times it's people with these archaic, antiquated ways of thinking. Give me a second. But that way of thinking to me is ignorant. For one, not only is it an archaic way of thinking, bro, you can't get on TV, and this go for NBA analysts and all that, and say, well, you know they officiate different in the playoffs, but then complain when they don't make a call in the playoffs that they wouldn't made in the season. Like, come on, bro. That's you. At the end of the day, situational awareness, bro. This is the Super Bowl. That play did not cost the Chiefs that down. You cannot make that call. I just do not agree with that call. I don't think that's a call that should have been made. The energy in every Super Bowl room around America was deflated after that call was made because that was the game. This the NFL. You want your game, the biggest sporting league in the world. And that's how your biggest game just ended. The players are supposed to dictate these games. And I understand the person that'll come and say, well, they had all game to dictate the game. They didn't, though, because it was still time left in this game. And what happened? What happened? The referees dictated it. That's a problem. That just cannot happen in the Super Bowl. Now, the reason I'm more fiery on it today is because, for one, I'm not as tired as I was last night. 2, just put your team in that situation. Yes, your team had a bad defensive game in the second half of the game, but you still got a stop. and the refs dictate, no, you didn't get the stop, actually, we're going to go ahead and end this game. You just can't have it. And Richard Sherman made a great point. You call down and tell them to challenge plays, not to challenge, but you can't call down there and tell them not to pick up that flag. The people back in New York don't understand the moment right now to pick up that flag. You could call a holding call. And so the people who are like, well, you can't just let a play go. Like, we let players get away with holding all the time. You can literally call holding all the time, but you don't, because it would ruin the game. You try to call it in big moments, even though you got those ticky-tack refs who will just call it nonstop. That in that situation, you would just expect people around the game that's involved with the game to understand the moment. I'm not saying those refs got to want to not call that play because their fans want another. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you don't call that play not because of what fans want, because of what the game needs. Jalen Hurts deserved that moment. The Eagles, Sirianni, those dudes worked for that moment to not have that type of call be made against them that basically took the game out of their hands. You fixed last year's game because you felt like Josh Allen deserved another opportunity. And he lost fair and fucking square in the overtime period. But you changed it in the playoffs so that both quarterbacks get an opportunity. But then you let this happen this year. It's, to me, after sleeping on it, I don't like it. You just cannot make that call in that moment, knowing that the Eagles have no shot at winning this game, essentially, if we make this call. You can't do it. You can't do it. You just can't do it. And this wasn't even one of those. See, this wasn't a Saints play where it was a very clear pass interference call that should have been made and just was blindly just not made. You got to make that call. This ain't that. So, and even then, the dude didn't make the call and the Saints still had a chance to win the game and blew it. This ain't that situation. You literally took the opportunity from the Eagles to have a chance at winning this game out of their hands. All the things that happened throughout the game, yeah, I get it. But like I done said before, key situations, key moments where big things happen, that was one of them. One of the biggest as I've seen. One of the biggest. Out of all the Super Bowl calls, you know what? That might have been one of the worst ones I done ever witnessed because of how much it dictated that game. And it do leave a bad taste in your mouth. Because look at what Jalen Hurts was doing in that game. Jalen Hurts was the best player on the field last night. Patrick Mahomes won, and I rave about Patrick Mahomes. But he wasn't the best player on the field last night. Jalen Hurts was. I would make an argument Pat Mahomes wasn't the second best player on the field last night. I could get at the Dallas Goedert. Regardless, however, you have to give that Eagles team a chance to make that to win or lose the game on their own. You can't dictate that. And this is my thing. It feel like growing up, it felt like when the ball was uncatchable, these type of calls was never made. Now, it just don't even give it. They don't care if the ball was catchable or not. They still make bad calls. And that's just bothersome to me, man. That is very, very, very bothersome to me because it ruined what was probably one of the best Super Bowls I done seen in recent memory. Now, aside from that, Jalen Hurts was godly last night. Now, for a lot of people, this was shocking. This was Jalen. Not for me. If you followed me, you know I done been on the Jalen Hurts bandwagon from the start. From the start. And the reason I brag about that is because I took a chance. In my heart, I said, I believe in this dude, man. I gave him the leeway that I regret not giving Lamar when Lamar first came out. Because I had no faith in Lamar Jackson when he first came out. It wasn't until 2 games into his second season where I was like, nah, this dude is special. This is a special dude. Because I had never seen a quarterback make a jump from year 1 to year 2 like that. Not to mention, he didn't even get a full year starting. I've never seen a dude come from his last game of one season, his next game of the next season, look like Lamar looked. Instantly, my brain said, oh, this is a generational talent because nobody makes this type of jump. It wasn't an incremental jump. It was a monstrous jump. And the talent around him didn't really change. Didn't improve or anything. It was him. And that's what made me realize I'm going to never prejudge a quarterback again. Because I was so wrong on Lamar Jackson. Now, you would probably never know that unless you listen to me, because I done talked about this before, because of how much I go to bat for Lamar, how much I love Lamar. But Lamar Jackson, being so wrong on Lamar Jackson is what made me, and I remember sitting and watching Shannon and Dion and LT do the after game shows and how much Dion swore by Lamar. And I couldn't see it at the time because I didn't want to see it. My way of seeing a quarterback had already been one way. And then Lamar Jackson completely flipped it on its head. That's why I don't like comparing. And it's no disrespect to the previous quarterbacks that ran the ball great. None of them are Lamar. Lamar Jackson, when I saw that leap he made, I said to myself, not only have I never seen a player in my lifetime make a leap from year 1 to year 2 like this, the talent that is not around him, how could he have made this type of leap with no talent that was significantly better around him? I couldn't understand. I still don't understand it. It's a generational talent. See, it's easy to see a generational talent like Pat Mahomes. Unless you're just a dumbass. Then you would have been like, oh, well, he got Kelsey. He got Reed. It's very hard for some people to realize how generational a talent Lamar Jackson actually is. It's easy to confuse guys for talent when they got a lot around them. Jalen Hurts last year carried a less bad team to the playoffs. Nobody really gave him credit for it. They made excuses actually as to why they made it there rather than giving Jalen Hurts credit. And throughout that entire season, through the struggles they started with and how Nick Sirianni changed the offense, you can go back and look at it last year. I kept saying, if they just take some of the approach, not necessarily do what the Ravens did, but just buy in. Because people keep giving the Ravens credit for this and that. The Ravens don't deserve no credit for building the system. They deserve credit for buying in. When you buy into your quarterback, it's not buying in saying I'm going to change the system, yada, yada, yada. It's saying that I have faith that he will become what I think he can become. The Eagles had faith Jalen Hurts, if they put the pieces around him, would go to that next level, would get to that next level, would become him. And that's exactly what Jalen Hurts did. And I knew it was going to happen. Did I think he was going to get to the Super Bowl this quick? No. But how do you dictate that or know that? Because it's a team achievement on a yearly basis. What I did know was that Jalen Hurts would be a franchise quarterback. Why did I know that? Because I saw what Lamar Jackson did. And I saw some of those traits in Jalen Hurts. Do I think Jalen Hurts is as talented, just by himself talented as Lamar Jackson? No. I've rarely seen a player as talented on his own as Lamar Jackson is. But Jalen Hurts is more than talented. I saw him change from Alabama to Oklahoma. Then I saw him get to the NFL, much like Lamar, use that first year he got to play as a stepping ground as to, let me get this under my belt. And then the next year, go crazy. The next year, get his team to the playoffs. And now you look at what Jalen Hurts done. This is a special talent, a very special talent. The Eagles better pay this dude. What a leader. That's the one thing that you ain't never been able to question with Lamar or Jalen Hurts. Leadership. Every teammate who ever played with him swear by him. They're the greatest leader, the coolest dudes. African-American black quarterbacks, black kids, black youngsters got something to look up to. I didn't have a black quarterback to look up to when I was growing up. That's why when Cam Newton came along, I was so infatuated by him. I wasn't a Michael Vick guy. When I got to grow up watching Cam Newton do what he did at Auburn, then go into the Carolina Panthers organization and do what he did, I was like, we got hope. Then come Jameis. Nowhere near he not what Cam was, but he was great in college. He could throw that thing. And then you got all these other dudes that done played huge parts, the Tyrod Taylors, so many different Josh Johnsons, so many different black African-American quarterbacks. I'm not talking about the ones from back in the day who paid the price for guys today. But I'm talking about the ones who also was still paying those prices today. In order for the Lamar Jackson to come along and be a generational talent, in order for the talent like a Jalen Hurts to come along, a generational talent like Pat Mahomes. It's just so happy as a black man watching these black men have success at the quarterback, the highest level of success. To see Jalen Hurts go into that Super Bowl and do exactly what I knew he could do is just special. It's special. And if the defense didn't decide last night for the Eagles, you know what? We'll take the second half of this game off. Jalen Hurts would have been hoisting a Super Bowl trophy and a Super Bowl MVP. So shout out to Jalen Hurts, bro. I just cannot let that be lost after this game. The game that Jalen Hurts just had. I mean, what a monster game. The Eagles did a lot of great things for Jalen Hurts. One of the biggest being going out and getting him receivers. Because in this game, receivers matter. Number one receivers matter. They make a defense work way harder than they have to work if you don't have them on the field. The Eagles also realize that we need to put this around Jalen Hurts before we have to pay Jalen Hurts. The Ravens had 4 years to put talent around Lamar Jackson and chose not to. The Ravens had 4 years to go out and get him a number one receiver. The Ravens had 4 years to go out and get him competent talent so he don't have to carry the team on his back before he got paid. Not to mention the Ravens could have paid him before Deshaun and all these dudes had got these contracts. They chose not to. And now they will lose Lamar Jackson, hopefully to the Jets or to Miami. Hell, I wouldn't mind seeing him play in Carolina. I don't want to see him in Atlanta. But now they're going to lose him. A generational quarterback, a franchise quarterback, a quarterback that could without a shadow of a doubt get to a Super Bowl if given a necessary team around him. The Baltimore Ravens had every opportunity to fix it. Instead, I told you earlier in the earlier when that press conference at the end of the season happened for Baltimore, I told you I do not like EDC, and something he said in that press conference let me know that Lamar got to get the fuck out. When they asked him about the number one receiver, and he said, "Oh, he beat around the bush. Oh, we got to see, those calls." That right there let me know he wasn't serious about winning because you just went out and got a middle linebacker and paid him $100 million. You went out and got a Marcus Peters and paid him. You paid a Marlon Humphreys. You keep paying defenders. You went out and got a lot of these defenders that you're paying are not even Ravens. They came over to the Ravens from other teams. But the dude that's been carrying your fucking franchise, you won't pay. And you also won't go get him a number one receiver. I don't got the time to keep explaining to you why having Mark Andrews just ain't enough. You need guys who can operate on the outside consistently. They refuse to go do that. Oh, well, Pat Mahomes just won a Super Bowl without it. Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen with my own two eyes. Pat Mahomes also had Tyreek Hill along with Kelsey up until this year. He also have a phenomenal offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemy and a phenomenal offensive-minded head coach in Andy Reid, neither of which Lamar Jackson has. Lamar Jackson has been asked to play with his hand tied behind his back from the start. And every year, the Ravens tie another body part and make it unusable. And yet and still, Lamar Jackson rise above it all. But now you want him to not only take a friendly deal or a pay cut, you also not going to go out. Because, listen, the biggest reason I don't want Lamar to take a contract from the Ravens is because as soon as he take that contract, that's when the Ravens are going to use that as the excuse to completely go out and be cheap. Something that they've already done. See, the Ravens been lying to you. They told you that we can't afford a receiver if we pay Lamar. Well, they've been paying Lamar basically nothing for 4 years and have yet to go get a receiver, and they've spent the less than any team in the NFL on receivers. So what's the excuse for that? This franchise has been allowed to get away with being cheap and not truly going out fighting for a Super Bowl and trying to compete. Ever since they got Lamar, they got lazy. They got competent, complacent, content of letting Lamar carry the load. But the Eagles saw what Jalen Hurts was, and then the next year they said, we know how to make him even better. We know how to help him get to the next level. And they was in the Super Bowl the same year. The Chiefs might have traded Tyreek Hill, but they did everything in their power during the season to go out and put weapons around Pat Mahomes so that he did not have nothing on the outside. Josh Allen went, they got you see what they've done for him. You see what Cincinnati got for Burrow. You see what all these you see what the Vikings done for Kirk Cousins. You see what the Dolphins did for Tua. So many times, so many examples of teams going out and doing good, doing right. That's why you can put it on Derek Carr for not coming through, because we got you, Darren Waller. We got you, Henry Ruggs at one point. We got you, Amari Cooper. We got you, a Devontae Adams. We got you, a Josh Jacobs. And you still have not been able to raise your level of play to get us to where we need to go. If you the Vikings looking at Kirk Cousins, we got you a Stephon Diggs. We got you a Adam Thielen. We got you a Dalvin Cook. We got you a Justin Jefferson. And you still haven't been able to get it done. Eventually, you'll look at Joe Burrow and say, we got you a Joe Mixon. We got you a Samaje Perine. We got you a Jamar Chase. We got you a T. Higgins. We got you a Tyler Boyd. And you still haven't been able to get it done. We got you Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. We got you Gabriel Davis, who for some reason is unbelievable in the playoffs. And you still haven't. We got you Dawson Knox. We got Von Miller. And you still haven't been able to get it done. What can the Ravens say to Lamar Jackson? We got you a retired Dez Bryant. We went out and got you a retired Deshaun Jackson. We went out and continuously get you undersized receivers. Are you serious right now? If Jalen Hurts didn't do his part this year, the Eagles could have legitimately made an argument. We went out and got you Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, a phenomenal offensive line. And you still can't show us no improvements or anything like that. But Jalen Hurts just balled the fuck out. So the Eagles know they're doing something right. They should be happy, confident going into next season. I don't know about the happy because, Philadelphia sports down bad right now. 3 months, 3 L's in major sports. However, the Eagles ain't going nowhere as long as you got that boy under center. Hurts. Cool cat. The Baltimore Ravens should have learned something from this. I doubt they will. And like I said last year, towards the end of the year, like I said all of this year, Lamar Jackson will probably be, hopefully, Lamar Jackson will be on another team next season that actually care about winning and putting a team around him to get the most out of him. Not continuously putting him on the field and putting the worst team around him to just drain him. The Ravens have legitimately done Lamar Jackson like they do running backs. Why in the fuck would he ever come back? Beats me, but with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Please, please, please tell somebody you fuck with him and love him. But before I get to the last closeout line, bro, shout out to all of the NFL players who put their body on the line this year for our entertainment. It was truly appreciated. I hope all these dudes is able to heal up in the off season, get their bodies right. I'm not saying I hope they heal up so they can come back and go to war again next year. I legitimately hope they heal up after the war they had to already go through this year. I hope the money good. I hope the pussy tastes even better. I appreciate you fellas. For all the people who work behind the scenes to make it, a phenomenal season. Thank you. Appreciation to all of you. To the fans that make this great. I talk a lot of shit about fans, but also appreciate them. It was another great NFL season. And once again, to the people who tuned in with me throughout the season, you checked out a video or two, I appreciate you. I really do. It was a phenomenal NFL season this year. Congratulations once again to the Kansas City Chiefs and Pat McGough on yet another Super Bowl win. Like I said, continuously cannot get lost in this, how phenomenal a season Jalen Hurts just had. Tell somebody you fuck with him. Tell somebody you love him. You can be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody. God bless football. Saint out.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price. So I pulled people along when they didn't want to be pulled. I challenge people when they don't want to be challenged.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.